Well, he's getting involved here with the ace-10.
Probably so. That's not very friendly, you know. Just put a little further raise in.
I tend to find when somebody gives you all this speech about how it's not very friendly and then re-raises you, they've almost always got a big hand. I think if you add on top of that, Donoghue has a reputation of being a slightly tight player, especially early in the tournament. Yeah. I think Paul should be a bit wary here. But having said that, ace-10, not a bad hand when you're in the blinds.
Well, he's a 70-30 underdog. And 10 Jack, a queen on the rainbow flop.
Jack?
Yeah, a good flop obviously for Donoghue, 3 jacks. Paul looking for a king to make a straight. He probably thinks that a 10 gives him other outs, that maybe an ace might be good for him.
2,200.
Daneker's not going to let him away cheap.
Well, Donoghue deciding to bet straight away, and it's interesting to see whether Paul, he may decide to just go all in here. He's got quite a strong hand, and he's got a draw to the nuts. And if he thinks that he can get Donoghue to fold, I think he's really got enough chips for that, though, and that's probably what swayed him. That's a good laydown by Paul.
I don't think any hand could have got Daneker off that, could it, or any bet, I mean.
No, I don't think Donoghue was folding that one, and I think Paul actually did quite well to get away from that one.
So, we deal the cards, same players, same game, amazingly fresh cards. And Annette O'Carroll, the only lady at our TV feature table today, also gonna fold.
And it's back round to Paul Marrow. He doesn't like to rest for too long, get straight back into the action.
To 425 total.
He goes for a 4-2-5.
Yeah, he must play online.
Well, he's gone for slightly over what the recommended amount would be. Actually, I think the internet kids probably they'd probably like that. 4-2-5 is not too bad, actually.
Phew. Now it's to Donoghue to call. Donoghue from Tulsk in County Roscommon, a 43-year-old player who favours the work of one Doyle Brunson. It's not quite a 10 deuce, but he's going to make the call with his 10-9 offsuit.
Yeah, it seems reasonably cheap, 275 more. He's getting some odds on his money. And he's not got the worst hand in the world. Now he's flopped the up and down straight draw. Be interesting to see how he plays this. He might favour a check raise here.
Interesting how, although Marrow has in fact hit this flop, Donoghue is still a statistical favourite.
Yeah, Donoghue can hit any of his 9s, his 10s, or make the straight with a jack or a 6. So he's got plenty of outs. He's decided to lead into the pot for 800.
14 cards out there for Donoghue.
And Paul Marrow's decided to try and find out where he is straight away. Make it 2,500 to go. If Donoghue could see his cards, he'd be happily moving all in now. Unfortunately for him, he can't. He's got to think to himself, there's a possibility that Paul's got a diamond draw here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a kind of two-pairy flop. Could have 8s and 7s, maybe.
What does Neil do in this position?
It's a tricky position. I think a lot of it depends on how many chips Paul's got. Doesn't look like Paul's got too many more, so raising, you're probably not going to get him off of his hand now. And if you call, you've pretty much got a hit. Well, he has hit, but he doesn't know how he's hit because he's checked and Paul's moved all in now. So it's only 1,300 more, and there's well over 7,000 in there. So basically, I think Mick has to call. That was the slight problem with this hand for Mick. When he called on the turn, Paul Marrow didn't really have much more money left, so he had to accept that once he put the 25 in, he was basically going to put the whole 38 in. There's no way he could put the 25 and fold for the 1,300.
Well, he does make the call. To the dismay of Paul Marrow.
Yeah, Paul looks a bit upset with the situation. I can't really say I'm in love with either player's play in this hand, though, really.
And there it is, 2 pair.
That's the end of Paul Marrow. He probably didn't really have enough chips to start making the kind of move he made on.
I mean, I enjoy being on the television, Tim. It's great. It's good fun. Some good players on there. And if you're going to go out, you might as well let everybody see you go out, haven't you?
So there you have it. The Dice Man steps out of the tournament fairly early doors. And his seat is fulfilled to make our feature table once again 8-handed. Button lies in front of Tom Kitt.
Go on. Pass.
Now,
And Mick O'Donoghue deciding to limp in from early position with the King Jack suited. It's a pretty looking hand, but it's one of those ones that's a bit of a trap.
Raise to 450.
And I like this play much better from Annette here. She's got exactly the same hand, King Jack. Hers is not suited, but she's done the right thing in my mind and come in with a raise.
Cool.
And although Mick's got a slightly better hand in that his is suited, he's just decided to call. He's out of position. Most of the time he's going to end up checking the flop. And I'm hoping that we're going to see Annette bet on a large majority of the flops.
so a 3 and a Jack of Hearts and a 10 of Spades.
Well, both players have hit this Jack, so it may be that it's impossible for either of them to fold it, but it'll be interesting to see how it progresses. I like Mick's bet, though. He's coming out with some strength. Annette's got a few chips. She's in a reasonably strong position. I'd like to see her raise here, really. I think she should be looking to make it about 2,000.
1400.
Raise to 1400 total.
And she favours the very small raise, a sort of, I'm going to try and find out where I am without spending too much money type of raise. Unfortunately, that kind of raise can sometimes send the message to the other player, I haven't got much of a hand, you can bluff me quite easily.
Or does it ever send the message, I've got an absolute monster and I'm just trying to reel you in?
That can be the other message. That's the deceptive thing about these messages.
You just need the right decoder. Well, they're both going to see the turn.
Mick's gone for the flat call, probably thinking to himself, I'm not really sure I am, I'm out of position, I think I've got the best hand, but I don't know, and oh my word, I hate the sight of that ace. I guess that's what's going through his mind now.
No, so he checks down.
And this is where position is a big benefit.
Bet.
Annette's decided to bet, and I like this bet. She's read weakness in the fact that
1800.
Mick only flat called her raise on the flop, and now he's checked her on the turn when the ace has come. She's deduced that he doesn't really like the ace, and she's gone for a bet. I like the way she's played this hand generally, very aggressive.
I know. I've been doing it all game.
Calling one thing and putting in a little bit less.
He really doesn't know where he is.
Good memory.
I think Mick kind of suspects a bit of larceny here, but he hates that ace and he hasn't really quite got the hand. And I tend to think also when you're up against a woman player, you subconsciously just give them more credit for a hand. They have a... Women players generally, there's a perception that they play tighter, and maybe that's crossing his mind here.
Maybe that's exactly why Annette is playing so aggressively, on the grounds that hopefully she's getting a bit of extra leeway and respect off the table. 1800 for Donoghue to call.
Yeah.
And look at that, puts it down. Both of them with the exact same hand. It just goes to show with a little bit of aggression.
Yeah, I love the play from Annette. It shows the value of position and the value of aggression, and she played it great.
Indeed. Our teacher from County Sligo, the west of Ireland.
Yeah, she gave a little lesson there to Mick.
Raise to 450 total.
So, the American Irish wakes up with the ladies.
Now, they call Dan Harrington Action Dan, which is a bit of a kind of joke nickname, because he hasn't played a hand since about 1983. And Donoghue D is the European equivalent. So for both of these two guys to find a big hand, 2 queens against 2 jacks, is, I think I'd need to have double suited aces to want to play in this pot with these two in.
I don't believe it.
Well, this is unbelievable, isn't it? They both flopped a set. The 3 hearts is the only thing that's going to stop all the money going in. If they both decide to slow